I don't think it's as hard. If I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's as hard as they're making it. I think that the developers, Nimble Neuron, might be overthinking it just a little bit. Like I said, before I make my statement, before I give my take, I want you to know I'm not a marketing genius. I'm not pretending to be. I'm only spitballing here to try and give them ideas and help in some way to maybe encourage them to advertise properly or give them some ideas on how to do so, or at least just pressure them to hire someone to help you if you don't know how. There are people that specialize in this. There are people in the West that would gladly help you. I'm sure. In today's economy, absolutely. But anyway, it's not that hard. The West is simple. We are simple. What do we want? Plain and simple. What is the West like most? They don't like MOBAs. MOBAs are not super popular in the West, unfortunately. They do, however, love Battle Royale. Fortnite, anybody? PUBG? Apex? Those games are massive in the West, in both NA and EU. Those games are huge here. The West loves Battle Royale. This game does have the MOBA attached to it. It is a MOBA, but I feel like we're drifting more towards a squads Battle Royale game than the MOBA aspect. We are more survival and Battle Royale than we are MOBA. MOBA just happens to be the platform that the Battle Royale sits on, I think. I think that's really how I would phrase it. Is like MOBA is kind of just the foundation of ER. Battle Royale and survival is really what makes up ER, for the most part. I would say that advertising that, using that as a selling point for your game, would dramatically increase your chances of actually bringing people in. I made this point to the connections community when I was talking to them that you simply just need to know what people like about your game. What do people like about ER? What are the qualities that ER has? What does it do differently from other games? Why do you guys play ER instead of playing League of Legends or Dota? Why do you pick this game? Genuinely, what are your reasons? Is it events? Is it the gameplay loop? Is it the community? Is it the art style? Is it the skins? Is it the battle royale aspect? Is it the MOBA aspect? The genre is dying? Yeah. So drop the MOBA act. Don't advertise it as a MOBA, advertise it as a battle royale. Like I said, MOBA is just the foundation that the game sits on. It is not the core aspect. I think that even if Eternal Return was a different genre, I honestly don't think it would change the loop much, depending on which way it would be. Are you speaking of Battle Royale? Battle Royale is absolutely not dying. I think you're wrong. It's absolutely not dying. In other countries, maybe. Let's pull up Steam charts for some Battle Royales if you really want to know. Let's pull it up. Fortnite. I'm just going to look at Epic. That is an absolutely insane amount of people. Holy shit. There are 1.5 million players right now just on the Epic Game Store. For just Fortnite. They already said in the dev stream that they are working on it though, through a third party. They've tried in many different ways, mostly a streamer sponsoring, but it didn't work out in that specific way, so it's branching experiment now. and the game is split between two audiences and isn't one. Most BRs are shooters, and most MOBAs are lane-centered, which tries to please both player base but doesn't exactly connect to some of them. Right, and that I think is the core issue of Eternal Return, is that it is a very interesting niche. I think that Eternal Return will never have the staying power to become one of the larger games, or at least it's going to be significantly harder to appeal to a larger audience than something like Fortnite, because of it being so niche. Fortnite is not niche at all. That came at the right time, and it just has so much staying power because of it being what it is. This game is trying to combine a lot of different things that already are very difficult genres to try and advertise, and I totally understand that. I get that. The thing is, and I want to make this clear, the thing is that you can absolutely advertise this game to the West, get like 100,000, 200,000 people, and that right there is huge. You know how big it is for a game to even get like 50,000 more players on Steam? That's so much money from just that small amount. That is literally double what they had ever. That is literally double their peak, which they only hit once, by the way. And they haven't even gotten close since. ER is not basic battle royale, so my point is still wrong. Right. It's not. But see, why would you not use that as a selling point? You're going to cut off a lot of people by advertising it this way. You're going to. But a thing in marketing like this is that finding a niche, advertising to a specific group of people will cut you off from anybody else except that group. But that group that you will find will be so dramatically into your game because you're targeting it so much. It's like here, what can I use? What can I use an example that I am familiar with? Albion, actually. That was my main game before I moved to ER. Let me show you Albion, guys. Since those of you probably don't know. Albion is a sandbox MMORPG that you probably have heard before because of its advertising. It advertises exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. It tells you right away. Sandbox MMORPG, where you make your own story. Where you craft. Where you mine resources. Where you fight other players in hardcore PvP. It says exactly right on the front, right where it is. Is that going to be a turnoff for a lot of you? Yeah. Maybe some of you are looking at these games, or this game, and going, that's interesting. Weird art style. Weird, like, what is this? Right? And maybe some of you are like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Maybe I want to play that. Hardcore sandbox MMO that is mostly built around the guilds and things. And group content. And the win or lose mechanic. Like, ooh, there's more servers coming out. Ooh, like, there's this event going on. Fight for your life. Player-driven economy. Oh, it's got a huge amount of player base. That sounds awesome. I'm a casual player. I played this game because it was available to me. It was like one of the few games I could actually run on my laptop back then. But I absolutely hated the competitive, like, life or death, fight for your gear playstyle. I hated the hardcore PvP. And that's like the only thing you do in that game besides economy, which is pretty boring. So it does not advertise to me at all. I am so far off of the Albion community and what the game is trying to go for. Unfortunately, they lost me as a player because the game made an active choice to only go towards that one direction. They didn't appeal in any way to a casual player. Is that a bad thing? No. No, I don't think so. I think that Albion has so much staying power because it's consistent with its updates towards that specific group. The hardcore PvP guild content is exactly what they're advertising, and they focus on that, and they do it really well. Back then, I was having a problem, and I voiced my concerns back when I was playing the game to the community, where it's like, don't take it the wrong way that I hate the game. Do not take it as a bad game. I don't think it's bad at all. I just think that it's not my kind of game. I think what they're doing, choosing to go towards the hardcore player base and completely neglect the casual side, I think that's fantastic. I think that they absolutely should do that. At some point, could they add a few more little things here or there in casual? Maybe. I told them not to. I told them not to, because the thing is, when you try to sprinkle towards both different things, if you try to appeal to everyone, you just said it before, when you try to appeal to everyone, you're going to appeal to no one. And this doesn't just go for MMOs, this goes for any game at all. When you try to target everyone, you don't appeal to anyone, because you don't satisfy any group, because you are split between so many different aspects. If this game were to focus on the competitive side, which they are, advertise it like that. Advertise it like that. Tell people that's what you're trying to make your game. They don't know what it is when they look at it. When I play the tutorial, what do I see? What is it advertised to me when I load up the game the first time? The lore. And then it rips the rug out from under me as soon as I leave the tutorial. And I have to go looking for the lore. And it's just completely non-existent in the gameplay. And then I realized the thing that most people care about with Return of Return is the competitive. So as a casual player, how's the game supposed to appeal to me? The issue here is player retention. They can advertise all they like, but the player who comes in has to feel encouraged to stay with it, which is another challenge. And this is why the game actually had good peaks, but it dropped down, unfortunately. They are trying to make the game easier and easier now that the newer players don't get frustrated when and the thing is that that's actually a good thing to do. And we'll probably talk about that on the podcast. I think that moving towards a simpler gameplay loop will encourage a different playstyle, which probably will appeal to a more casual audience, which eventually then will fall in love with the complexity of the game. You still need simplicity in you need still complexity in simplicity. You need both. You need to introduce your complex mechanics in a simple way. This game is incredibly complex, and there's nothing wrong with that. But most people coming to ER are probably going to be coming from other casual or other competitive games if you are to advertise it that way. So they're going to be coming over here for the same reasons that they're playing Overwatch or Apex or Valorant or League or Dota or all of these competitive games. They're coming over here with the same mindset that they have a goal to achieve. Get good at this game, beat other players, be good at your character, all the things that we go for when we're playing these games. No matter what genre. It's the same thing. And the problem is that games nowadays, especially in this competitive genre and online competitive games, they're so complex nowadays, and players are so damn good at the games nowadays that it's like impossible to get into a new one. Because people have been playing it for years. So you, instead of having to just learn the game back when it came out, you are now learning a game in an environment that can't sustain you or doesn't encourage you to do so or hold your hand in any way, because these players are so used to the game that they will curb stomp you no matter what. Because the skill floor for your game is so high because people have had so much time to learn it. That goes for any game. That's not just an ER problem. It's just every game nowadays. It's all of them. You cannot compare this to a MOBA nor a battle royale. You would rather compare it to its circle of niche genre style like this one. Games like Battle Right, Super Vibe, Azure Zhang come to mind when covering this niche genre. Absolutely. How are those games advertising? That's the thing. That's the thing, Nan, is that there are so many other games. Games have been out for decades already. Video games have been a thing for a long time. This is not a new concept. This is not something that you can't just go look at what other successful games have done and do that. Ninrel, how do you think I'm being successful as a content creator? How do you think I'm slowly gaining my footing? Why people are starting to know who I am? while I'm clicking, I'm turning on bells for people. Like I'm starting to spread. How do you think I'm doing that? I'm advertising myself. I have a product, which is my community, my personality, all of this stuff. I have a thing that I'm selling you, basically. A thing that I am giving you. I have to advertise that as a product, basically. And the best way I can do that is by getting attention and being familiarized with the rest of the community, with people who are already known. So when those people are starting to talk about me, other people hear about it. And then it just goes on and on. It's just advertising. It's just marketing. That's just how it works. How do I learn how to do this? By watching videos. By looking at other content creators who are doing exactly the same thing. I look at Markiplier. I look at Josh Strife Hayes. I look at these. I look at Flats. I look at these other creators that I really like, who I relate to a lot in a lot of ways because they have very similar content styles. Well, how do they get successful doing their type of niche genre? How do they get successful in the personality streamer content style? What do they do to get to where they're at? And I mimic that. It's not stealing to mimic somebody else's advertising style. It is just good business to try and learn from other people and figure out what makes successful people successful. Hasn't that been a strategy for literally anything ever? It's not just marketing. This goes for anything you're trying to do. Anytime you're trying to achieve anything at all, you can always glean the most information by learning from other people and trial and error. That is the only way you can learn. Battle Royale died because they fucked it. Even through the game, even though the game was really good, Supervive does really good advertising, but it dropped down because of a niche style. Right, you can't just have good advertising, your game also needs to be good too. But that's the thing. In general, I would say personally, this game feels really freaking good. This next season has a good amount of hype, but it could be better if they would advertise it. I haven't seen anything talking about Season 7, or anything in Season 8, or 9. They leaked a ton of things, and they sound like great. Like these new updates sound insane. Like the game is going to be so different after Season 7. Why would you not use that? That is just marketing 101. That is basic marketing. You don't need to advertise with cinematics or things like those are expensive. Just a simple advertisement like here, let me pull up a Genshin one. Let me see if I can find the specific one. Probably on Twitter. Look at their Twitter page. Can't even believe that I'm on the Genshin Impact Twitter right now. I just want to find one of your advertisements. I don't care about all this other stuff. I just want an advertisement. This is so basic. This is so basic. But it works. You can't knock it. It's a working ad. Raiden Shogun was one of the most advertised characters in Genshin Impact history. How much did she sell? Because of the advertisements. I remember when this came out. I used to be a big Genshin player. When Raiden Shogun was coming out, she was advertised like long before she released. They cooked this character up before she was released. They would not stop talking about her. The community would not stop talking about her. And you have to get people interested. You got to keep people interested. You can't just make one bit like wave. You have to keep that thing going. Like Ninroll, if I did one podcast and then I didn't do another one, would anyone give a damn about it? Would anybody even know what it is? If I did one cast and I never did one again, would anyone give a shit about it? If I only brought on like just friends I knew or anybody like I could just get, if I just brought on random people, would anyone care? No. I mentioned that I got Eclipse. I'm advertising that I have Eclipse, one of the pro players. I think on the winning team actually from last season. I've got Ivan, someone who a lot of people know. I've got Athena, who is a caster and one of the biggest content creators in the community. I've been talking to Levi to get a lot of my info and suggestions and things. I'm hopefully, like, I haven't tried to get in contact with Age or Toma, but at some point maybe I can contact Toma. My point is that you have to keep that momentum. They'll put out like one random advertisement. That's the thing, is the advertisements I've seen as well, I haven't mentioned, all of their advertisements are so disconnected that none of them look the same at all. There's no similarities, there's no connection between the things that they're advertising and how they do it. Genshin Impact has like very consistent advertising. Very consistent. It has a very popular playstyle. When people people like art style. When people see Genshin Impact, they know it. They recognize it. Leaks. Yes, leaks. Leaks before you, like months and months, sometimes years before you do things. Leaks are so important. You need to tease at things. There's like, this is not hard. This is not hard. Not as hard as they're making it sound. You have very successful games that started out just like Eternal Return. Small indie developed company that started out with like only 1 million, I'm pretty sure, input, and now they are a multi-billion-dollar company. Cinematics. Now these are expensive. League of Legends is run by Riot. Riot is a massive company that has a lot of money. Can they do cinematics like this? Do they have money to crank out on songs, on albums, on cinematics, on a show? No, they don't. They don't. But they can learn from it. It is a goal they can set. They're hiring a lore team, so they heard. I'm saying the examples are out there, and just from what I've observed, a winning strategy, and this goes for literally anything you are trying to achieve, not just video games, not just this game. When you are trying to achieve something, the best things you can do to achieve that thing is learn from other people who are successful. See what they do. See how they tick. What's the mindset? What do they do to get there? And try it yourself. And fail. Fail a lot. Be willing to fail over and over. Because failure is the best teacher. It's going to cost them money. They're not going to like it. Some ads are not going to be successful. But consistency matters above all else. Consistency and knowing how to advertise will increase the attention on your game. The problem is that you have a great foundation. You have a wonderful game with a very good niche. Is it very specific? Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but you can at least double your player base this way. This game could be so popular if they were just willing to give it the attention it needs towards its PR. This PR is like one of the most dire things I would say about the game. It is so bad. I was shown the previous advertisements that they sent in the West. Most of them you actually have to do digging for. The only reason I was able to find them was because I had Levi and I think it was Golfer, or just people who like were able to find this stuff. I don't even know how they found it. It was like so deep. I couldn't even figure out where they got it. But they sent it to me so that I could use it. I wish that I still had it. I probably will like try and dig it up again. I think it was Golfer that was sending them to me. I can probably get him to send them in my Discord so that we can use them, because I think that is important to have the evidence of this stuff and why I'm talking about it and why I'm so serious about this. I need you guys to see these ads. They're so bad. They're, I mean, like, some of the worst advertising I've seen for any game ever. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of bad advertising. That was some of the worst. And they're using that as an example for advertising